Fernando ready, and the strike two pitch is hit back to the box, dribbling to second. Samuel on the bag, throws to first, double play. Fernando Valenzuela has pitched a no-hitter at 10-17.
Well, on June 29th, 1990, Dodgers legend Fernando Valenzuela gave fans one final lasting memory of his brilliant career with the team, throwing a no-hitter against the St. Louis Cardinals. The general manager of the Dodgers at that time was Fred Clare, who's joining us now to share his personal stories and insights about Valenzuela. Thank you so much for joining us. Mr. Clare, you got the job in 1987 in the midst of Fernandomania. So what are your fondest memories of those years together?
Well, I have so many great memories of Fernando, and really beginning in 1980 when he first came up to the Dodgers. And then, of course, his incredible season in 1981 when he became not only the Rookie of the Year, but the Cy Young Award winner. So, and all of the creation at that time, of course, of Fernandomania. The Dodgers have never had a player who created such excitement at the beginning of his career. So it's been it was a great career, a wonderful life by Fernando and his advancements in life, and just a very sad day for all those who care about baseball and the Dodgers with the loss of Fernando at such an early age.
Absolutely. It's such tough news to hear. Before the 1991 season, you, then manager Tommy Lasorda, and then owner Peter O'Malley had to make the really difficult decision to release Valenzuela. So what can you tell us about the discussions that went into that? Because I understand it was a really tough decision.
Oh, it was an incredibly difficult decision. It took place in spring training of 1990 as spring training was coming to an end. And I had wanted to bring Fernando back for the upcoming 91 season because I wanted to give him every chance to make the Dodger team. But our pitching was so strong at that time in that spring, it became evident that Fernando simply wasn't going to be able at that time to be a member of our pitching staff. So it was very difficult. Fernando handled it in a very professional way. Fernando still had the desire to continue to play as he should, as every player should. And but it did mark the end of his career at that time as a player, and so rewarding for all of us ever involved with the Dodgers to see Fernando then years later come back as an announcer and be such an important part of the Dodger organization. And then last year, of course, to have his number retired, one of only two numbers retired by the Dodgers who are not members of the Hall of Fame, Jim Gilliam being the other.
Mm-hmm. Well, other than Valenzuela, the player, what else would you like for fans to know about the man off the field and behind the scenes?
Well, I think the talent was evident, but I think it was really the joy that Fernando had as a player, absolutely loving each time that he was on the mound, loved being part of the game, and also the way through the years, as I saw it, as Fernando matured as a person, because fame for a young man coming from Mexico, a family of 12 children, was not an easy thing to handle. But Fernando learned to handle it, learned the grace of being a significant personality in Los Angeles Dodger and baseball history. And so I think it was the continued advancement of Fernando's life that carries so much meaning, and I think gives so much hope to others. And Fernando, I think what I would like to think of more than anything is not only the joy of Fernando, but the inspiration that he gave to so many children, to so many young people. I think that really is the legacy of Fernando, of what he did in his life to inspire others, and what will continue to be an inspiration throughout history.
Fred, Claire, thank you so much for taking the time to join us and share your memories and your insights. We certainly appreciate your time.
Great to be with you.